California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.
Coming up on California Heartland, is our fast food nation showing signs of slowing down?
The fundamental value is to create a food system that is good, clean, and fair.
See how the California Crusade for Slow Food celebrates healthy eating by planting a new type of victory garden. And
during the late 40s, it was World War II and everything was rationed, and so there basically was no wine market.
It's the story of California's oldest family-owned winery. Hear how the Gunlock Bunshoe name survived Prohibition, the war, and the 1906 quake, one grapevine at a time. Plus,
it's the taste of heirloom tomatoes.
A true tomato lover's treasure. We'll show you how to save your own heirloom tomato seeds for seasons to come. From your backyard to the back country, in a field or on your family table, it's all about what keeps California moving and growing. This is California Heartland.
We all know what fast food is, but do you know what slow food is?
The slow food movement?
No, I have not.
No.
The slow food movement? I haven't.
No.
Have you? No.
Yes, I've heard of the slow food movement.
Those living the slow life say experience is the best way to find out. That's why we visited slow food guru Anya Fernald right in the middle of her slow food dinner party.
Beautiful. A lot of people at home may be wondering, slow food, do we eat slower? Is it a diet?
Well, the concept is that you're going to be making food using ingredients that are high quality, using ingredients that you know where they come from, and that are made in a way that's environmentally sustainable and delicious. This is something that I can do in 10 minutes after work.
So Anya, what's for dinner tonight?
We're making pizza and hamburgers. We're doing the classic fast foods.
Fast food, but slow.
Exactly.
Slow it. Fast food, but in a slow way.
We're making really good fast foods. We're making it with all great ingredients and using things that from farmers that we know and people whose practices we respect.
The slow food movement is all about healthy eating.
Wow.
With more than 85,000 members worldwide, it's everything fast food is not. Eating fresh from neighborhood farms and stores.
The fundamental value is to create a food system that is good, clean, and fair. So good means delicious, clean, environmentally sound, and fair is socially just. Socially just means workers' rights, and it also means that food is available affordably to all different communities.
It's a concept Anya not only lives by, it's one that she's dishing out for a living as executive director of the Slow Food Nation in the Bay Area.
Wake up, we need to change something really big, and let's start to do it joyously, deliciously, with small steps, but we need to get ready to make a big change.
In front of San Francisco City Hall, it's obvious things are changing and growing in this new type of victory garden. This has become ground zero for Anya, spreading her seeds of knowledge about slow food by teaming up with John Bella, the garden's designer.
John, what's the significance of having a garden right in front of City Hall here in San Francisco?
Well, Civic Center really is the city's most symbolic space. And, you know, everyone gets a chance to express their values here. And it just so happens that for us, it takes the life cycle or the growing season of a plant to get the message out. And so I think when people see a garden here, they really think, wow, this is important.
And how excited are you to see this beautiful garden?
It's really lucky to work this close to some place like this because I can come down during my lunch break and just take in the sights.
Today, this lawn outside the Civic Center is transformed into a temporary, organic green space. It's a place where people can really slow down and taste the slow food.
And what's the goal of this garden?
The goal of this garden, there's several goals. Mostly it's just to inspire people to start growing their own food again, to kind of get back to that. Obviously, reduce your carbon footprint, grow your food as close to home as possible. You can start off by going to farmers markets, and later on you can, if you're so inspired, you can start growing it in your own backyard. Of course, it starts with that. And the reason why food is such a great way to educate people about it is because it's the one kind of common denominator that we all share. We all have to eat. We may have a lot of differences in our lives, but ultimately, we all have to put this food in our mouth.
The Victory Garden isn't a new concept. Its historical roots were inspired by the self-sufficiency efforts of World War II, where yards from coast to coast were planted to send more resources overseas.
And then the city made land available all over the city. Golden Gate Park, public parks, backyards, front yards, almost every available scrap of land was used, put to a productive use.
Victory also means feeding thousands. Each week, the harvested veggies from this garden goes to the San Francisco Food Bank, where they're sorted and sent to local food pantries.
Paul, how much fresh produce comes out of this?
Well, we have about 30 million pounds of fresh produce every year, and you can see some of it is heavy stuff, and then we have lettuce that's very light, watermelon, things like that. It's all great product, and people are just thrilled to take this.
San Francisco Food Bank's executive director, Paul Ash, believes the benefits of the garden and the movement are doing more than just filling the fridge.
We want families to take that food home and take the time to prepare it and eat together as a family. And that's one of the values that we understand from people, build stronger families.
A lot of people may think, okay, so slow food, what does that have to do with the food bank? And I know that it really goes hand in hand in terms of the mission for you to get fresh organic produce out there, right?
Right. We know that when our families, people that we serve, go into the store, the most expensive place that they can buy calories is in the produce aisle. And so oftentimes they can't go there. So when we can provide fresh produce, that is a whole segment of food that they're probably not going to get anywhere else.
Is this from your dad's garden, Anya? Is this from your dad's?
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen an onion like that.
Armenian.
Wow.
Armenian cucumber.
Very juicy.
Isn't that good?
Very good.
For followers of the movement, making the connection with food, family, and friends presents a shift in life, physically, emotionally, and socially.
How did it change your life?
I'm just really conscious of where I get everything from now. Like really conscious, and I want to know who's been involved in making it, and I don't do fast food anymore. There we go.
Okay. So I get it. Slow foods is about connecting with food.
Absolutely, to know where their food comes from, to pay that little bit of extra attention that might help them make a choice that's healthier for them and healthier for the environment.
It's just more satisfying doing it this way.
Very good. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers to the tomatoes.
Plants need.
Water, air, space, and light.
Well, the garden just is such a motivating tool for students to get kids to understand where the food comes from.
I was surprised because I didn't know white pumpkins and squash and tomatoes can come out of them.
It's just real life hands-on experience that it connects with where they're at, how they learn. Like we'll come out and try the nasturtium flowers. They wouldn't know that they're edible.
I didn't know I could eat flowers.
So the fact that they helped pick it and help make it, they ate it, but just different experiences. Who gets to eat a flower? Just look at any child's face that comes in here. The enthusiasm they have, how much they learn, how much they love it. All of the vegetables they ate that we picked. You can't get that out of a textbook.
The best part is that you get to learn more education about the plants and stuff that you never knew before. And sometimes it's actually interesting. We love working in our school garden!
From the chicken house to your house, poultry production is a $2.5 billion business here. No wonder California is the 5th largest egg-producing state in the nation. And did you know that eggs are loaded with protein and full of essential amino acids your body needs? Food and lifestyle expert Laura McIntosh is bringing it home, from the crops to your kitchen.
Well, thanks for joining me. We are ready to cook it up, and I'd like to introduce to you our chef today, Tony Baker. Thanks for joining us again.
No worries, this is awesome.
Give me some background on you. Where you learned how to cook?
Well, I'm English. I'm from Bristol, which is in the southwest of England, and I worked at a lot of really fancy foo-foo places before coming to the States.
Okay.
And one of the places I worked at was a place called Lucknam Park.
Okay.
And they had this egg dish on the menu that was to die for, with fresh shaved truffles and asparagus. And so I'm doing a twist on that today.
You're going to make it California style.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Okay. Well, for this, we are going to start by deep frying some butter. So get your cardiologist. Now we're going to do a simple thing called pane. We've all had everything breaded before, you know, your flour, egg, and crumb.
Okay.
It's quite simple. I have regular all-purpose flour.
Okay.
I have eggs. And it's a good idea to keep one hand wet and one hand dry, because if you get both hands wet, it ends up being one big gooey mess. So egg, the flour makes the egg stick, in case you didn't guess.
Of course.
Okay. I've got some breadcrumbs here. These are those panko breadcrumbs. You can get them in the store. They're Japanese white breadcrumbs.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay, now we're going to do what's called double pane.
Okay.
Pop it back in the egg.
No way!
And then hit it back in the breadcrumbs. Okay, now let me move this out of the way. I'm going to making a mess here. I'm going to put it on a clean counter and just press it down a little bit and get nice square. We want nice clean edges. All right.
Okay, this is deep fryer.
Deep frying butter.
The temperature so that it comes...
350.
Got it,
yeah,
okay.
About 350. I'm going to turn that over. Doesn't take long. It's already starting to get some color. Yeah. Okay, so here's our deep fried butter. I'm going to cut this top off.
I can't wait to see this.
Okay. I'm going to get our bowl of butter. And I'm going to pop.
Is amazing.
And there is the base of our breakfast dish.
I've never seen anything like that before.
Deep fried butter.
Tony, that is the coolest thing. That is the coolest thing ever.
Okay, let's get to our, we're going to do something that everybody considers something really simple, which is scrambled eggs.
Yes!
Nothing special about scrambled eggs, but I like to spend the extra money and get the free-range eggs.
Okay.
And there is a difference. They taste.
They do taste different. They're very, very good.
Now, there's something called albumin in egg whites, and when you add salt to it, it breaks it all down. So when the salt, you do not want to put in eggs until the last second before you cook them.
I did not know that.
And I'm going to take some of this butter that we had left over, and this is what we're going to cook with.
I mean, look at it. You deep fried it, and it's still hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what's clever about it. Pop that butter in there.
Okay.
Okay, meanwhile, down at the ranch, we're going to do some asparagus.
Okay.
This asparagus I blanched, which means putting into boiling water.
Right.
And pretty much cooking it most of the way and shocking it into ice cold water.
Okay, so it keeps this green color.
Keeps a beautiful green color, a little al dente, which means to the bite. Yes. It's got a little pop to it.
Okay.
Now, we probably only want to use about 5 tips for our per serving.
Okay.
And we're going to season that with a little salt. And you can turn that off.
All right, it's done.
See, oh yeah, I mean, we're just literally warming it up.
Did you guys see that? Easy, easy. This is great this morning. This will be wonderful.
There's our butter, I know.
Okay.
Okay, I put my eggs in there.
Okay.
Now remember, we're soft scrambling these. I don't want these to be all hard and
see what you're doing now. When my daughter makes these, I tell her all the time, you have to continually stir scrambled eggs,
scrambled eggs,
okay.
Yeah. Now the other little trick we're going to do to help us here is we're going to throw in a tad of heavy cream.
Okay.
Just to make it even more healthy.
You've really blown this out of the water now. I just want to, I'm throwing that out there for all of you to know that I know and we know.
Well, that's cooking, and we're going to cook that kind of slowly. We're going to get our plate here.
Okay, but a quick question. You added the cream to the warm pan. Now it's not going to curdle?
No.
Okay, so we're good.
We're not going to boil it or anything.
And do I need to keep stirring it? Or it's okay?
Yeah, please keep stirring. Yes,
all right.
Thank you. So our little bread basket here is still warm because we just cooked it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, you might want to pop it back in a warm oven just to kind of bring it back to life again. Okay.
All right.
Now we're going to take a couple of tips of asparagus.
Okay.
Excuse me.
It's all ready to go.
Thank you very much.
Oh, in the butter. Oh my God, this is going to be
fantastic. I'm going to pop them in the basket. Ooh, look at that.
Look at that.
Take 5 tips of butter. Just to add a little bit of richness to it, and you don't have to do this, but I'm going to add some smoked salmon.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put some just beautiful smoked salmon on the plate. I mean, you can certainly buy the smoked salmon from any good supermarket.
Yes.
And our eggs are cooking up a storm.
What are you
They're
thinking?
Almost ready. A little longer, yeah. We want them to be just so it's, you know,
because I don't know if I could do runny.
No, you don't want runny.
Okay.
You don't want to. Now remember, the cream's not going to set. So the more cream you add, the softer they're going to appear, even though the eggs are cooked.
Okay. Good.
Okay, let me see that.
Okay,
there,
you
Laura.
ready?
I think we're about ready. Yeah, this is banging. Now, You gotta remember, when you cook eggs too much, they'll go green.
Oh, they will?
Yeah.
I guess I've never cooked them too much.
There
And
we
the
go.
top. This looks so great.
Great.
What an amazing dish.
Okay, everybody likes cheese and wine, but sometimes you have to have a specific wine with a specific cheese. A lot of times white wine goes better with some cheeses than red wine does. And here we have two. Petite Syrah, which is making a comeback in California, and a very old variety called Sauvignon Vert, which we're probably the only ones left in the United States to grow. Here you've got a white wine that goes very well with the soft-paced cheeses and a red wine that goes very well with the cheddar. Apples, almonds, grapes, they're all accompaniments to cheese. But just remember that with California cheese, the best thing is California wine.
The roots of California's farming families grow deep. This is the heritage of our heartland.
I'm Jacob Gunlock's great-great-grandson. My name is Jim Bunchu. I restarted Jacob's Winery in 1973.
I am Jeff Bunchu, Jim Bunchu's son, and I'm the 6th generation Bunchu to grow grapes and make wine.
Hard work and a love for wine and laughter have carried 6 generations of the Gunlock-Bunchu family through the ups and downs of what is today a successful wine business. But entwined between the vines and the vintages lies a story about a family that survived earthquakes and Prohibition to become California's oldest family-owned winery. 39-year-old Jeff Bunchu is now at the helm, his passion for family and wine fueled by the stories of how it all began.
He was 33 when he left Germany. His name was Jacob Gunlock, and he set out directly for San Francisco, attracted by the gold rush.
A trip that could have meant a different fate for this famous farming family. So he was shipwrecked off the coast of Africa for how long? What happened?
It was a period of not very long, a couple weeks. It was able to get himself to Brazil on another ship, and then he was stranded there for about 6 months while he tried to regroup. The shipping company wouldn't pay the rest of his way, so that when he finally did get transport all the way around the Cape and up the west coast of South and North America, he arrived into San Francisco a year to the day after he had left Germany.
Jacob arrived in San Francisco in 1857, too late for the gold rush, but did strike it big in the wine business. He purchased 400 acres of land in Sonoma and christened it Rhine Farm.
Jacob realized that if he could grow grapes along with some other vintners in Sonoma Valley, if they could grow grapes and produce wine, that there was a burgeoning market for them on the east coast of the United States.
The actual operation, still based in San Francisco, really took off when Jacob met savvy businessman Charles Bunchu in 1868.
He was another German immigrant to the city of San Francisco and had went to work for Jacob and then ultimately ended up marrying Jacob's daughter. That's how it went from Gunlock to Gunlock and Bunchu. It was a father-son-in-law thing.
Charles not only married Jacob's daughter, Francesca, he added his own creative spirit to the family business of making spirits.
He was a great writer and a great poet, even in his adopted tongue of English.
The title of the piece is Meditations on Wine. The exhilarating power and stimulating inspiration imparted by a glass of pure wine at all times benefited mankind in whole-souled aspirations.
Charles led the family business through an event that changed the course of the winery's history forever, the 1906 earthquake, which destroyed the San Francisco operation and forced them to relocate everything to the Sonoma vineyards.
In forcing the family to move up here to Sonoma, they built the house where I was born and raised, and involved themselves more in the community of Sonoma.
Walter was my great-grandfather, and he basically had to pick up the pieces after the earthquake, and he made wine until Prohibition. He stumbled along until a few years until Prohibition was over, and his wife Sadie was a Prohibitionist and didn't want him to open the winery again, so they were done.
She legitimately owned the winery because after the fire and earthquake, the winery had to be refinanced, and she had money from her side of the family, and she literally padlocked the doors on the winery.
With Prohibition in full swing and the winery locked shut, Sadie's son Toll continued to keep the business in business by growing grapes and selling them to other vintners for sacramental and medicinal wines, and it stayed that way for decades.
My father had the most difficult time because no one was drinking wine during the late 40s. It was World War II and everything was rationed, and there basically was no wine market. Because there was no value to the wine, as a winery, he burnt it down. He was a very intelligent man, but it just points out to me how little hope there was for him to maintain a viable ranch and vineyard in the 40s and 50s.
Toll struggled to keep the farm going, but did so by adding pear orchards and cattle, until his son Jim, and perhaps history, beckoned to return the family winery to all its glory by making wine again. Today, Gunlock Bundschuh produces 50,000 cases of wine in a massive operation run by Jim's son, Jeff, the sixth generation of this venerable family. But what of the next generation? Jeff's daughters, 9-year-old Georgia Grace and 6-year-old Ava.
So what do you think of the wine business?
I've tried wine, but it doesn't taste too good.
So are you going to take over the winery?
Maybe.
Well, it may be too soon to look into the future for these two, but with 150 years of bottling history under their belts, it's pretty easy to see how this family will be celebrating for many generations to come.
So the toast is the gift of this place, the privilege of living its story, and the honor of working with you to continue it. Hear, hear.
Hi, my name is Corey Azevedo. Come see my California Heartland. My job here at the co-op is to make sure that all the rice gets in here. We store it and we ship it out to the mills and make sure that the quality is the best that we can possibly get it. Yeah, I pulled a sample and we were shaking it. All the rice stays on the top, and what falls through the holes are the bugs. We check those usually 3 or 4 times with a trailer. Rice is everywhere. You'll see rice in your cereals. You'll see rice in your soups, and rice even in your beers. It's a very, very important part of the California economy, and I really enjoy being a part of the industry. Thank you for coming to visit my California Heartland.
Everyone's a farmer when it comes to their own backyard. Try these tips for doing it homegrown.
Heirloom tomatoes, they're gaining in popularity. More and more farmers and backyard gardeners are growing these beauties of antiquity. Some heirloom tomatoes go all the way back to the 19th century. The reason for their popularity? The size, the color, the flavor, the shapes, but most of all, it's the taste of heirloom tomatoes. Nurseries now carry more than a dozen different varieties of heirloom tomatoes, but there are plenty more available, over 100 varieties available as seeds from specialty seed companies. The choice is yours. Find one you like, and then you can save the seeds for next year if you follow a few simple rules. We're at the table where I'll show you how to save heirloom tomato seeds. The first rule to remember, grow the plant you want in isolation from other tomato plants so it doesn't cross-pollinate. Otherwise, you might end up with something like this, a mystery tomato. To save heirloom tomato seeds, pick the ripest, juiciest one you can find. This is one of my favorite heirlooms. It's called the Bloody Butcher. It's from England and dates back to the 1800s. To save the seeds, you want to use a serrated knife and cut across the equator of the tomato exactly in half. And then you're going to squeeze the contents into a clean plastic or glass container. Oh, you see all that juice? That's why it's called Bloody Butcher. After you've squeezed the pulp into the container, take a lid and apply it loosely. You want to keep this in a warm, dark location for about 2 or 3 days. This allows it to ferment, and that'll dissolve the gel coating around the seeds. But don't leave it for more than 3 days in here, otherwise the seeds might germinate. Just like the old prospectors used to pan for gold, heirloom tomato growers can pan for the greatest tomato seeds in the world. First of all, you take the big chunks out and just leave behind the seeds and the liquid. Then you'll strain the liquid and the tomato seeds through a good-sized strainer into your compost can. And what's left? Beautiful heirloom tomato seeds for the next growing season. To save the seeds, what you need is a dry coffee filter or a paper plate, and you'll just scrape off the tomato seeds from the strainer into the dry coffee filter. You'll need to keep it there in a dry, cool place for about 2 to 7 days. You may have to take your fingers and sort of work them around to loosen them up, but at the end of that time, you're going to have some very nice seeds. Be sure to store your tomato seeds in a cool, dry location like under your bed. Put them in a glass jar, that's perfect. And be sure you put a label on it so you don't forget what they are. These tomato seeds, they're going to last 5 to 7 years. That's a lot of growing seasons for you to enjoy the taste of homegrown tomatoes. And nothing beats the taste of an heirloom tomato.
That's California Heartland. For more information on any of these stories, go to californiaheartland.org. I'm Chris Burrows. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. A lot different. It's awesome.
I'm sorry about this.
Shot. How do you find chocolate?
Oh, this is so beautiful out here.
Yeah.
To order a copy of this show, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping. California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.